The Big Dane podcast is produced by Big Dane Media, empowering women-led brands through marketing strategy. Learn more at bigdanemedia.com. Welcome to the Big Dane podcast. I'm your host, Dana Warnock, connecting through the stories women share. Each story might surprise you, make you think, or just make you say, wow. Each story is different, but each one has a connection we can all relate to. Let's get into it. Today, I'm joined by Michele Leff, owner of 12th Street Catering in Philadelphia, PA, and she has turned her interest in food into a real business. Welcome, Michele.
Dana, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to hear about your story and how it all came together. So let's start from the beginning, right? So before it became a business, what first sparked your interest in the food industry?
Well, my story's a little different because I didn't initially have an interest in food. I had gotten my master's in business
Okay.
and was really interested in organizational development. But I fell in love and met my current husband, who ironically today is our 42nd wedding anniversary. So we've
Amazing.
been together for 44 years. When we met, he was thinking about either staying in Philadelphia or moving out to Colorado, where a lot of his family was. And we brainstormed what we might want to do in the interim. And he said, why don't we open a Mexican restaurant in the Reading Terminal Market? So that was where we started 44 years ago.
Wow.
I helped him do it. That was how we were dating, is opening a business. We were a brand new couple and we had so much fun. And it was just really exciting to have an idea and watch it come to fruition. I was interviewing, and he was making flan in a pan at the Reading Terminal, and the handle broke, and he burnt his hand.
Ooh.
So I had no intention of being in this business until that happened. And then I had to take my shoes off, jump behind the counter. We were very fortunate that we were successful from day one.
Mm-hmm.
So I jumped behind the counter. We had a long line, and oh my goodness, Dana, did I have fun. It was so exciting. And I remember, he had to take a couple weeks off because he had to heal. And I kept coming home and saying, and we could do this, and we could do this, and we can do this. So I was fired up. And so
Okay.
that was sort of the beginning of our culinary journey. And if you'll recall, Philadelphia, 44 years ago, there were no Mexican ingredients. So the
Yeah.
first thing we had to do was to travel all along the border states and look for all the ingredients. I mean, now you can go to the supermarket and find chipotles and all the dried chilies and all the wonderful ingredients, fresh tortillas everywhere. But 44 years ago, it was nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
we traveled and we found all sorts of uh, vendors and purveyors, and we filled a container and shipped it to Philadelphia. And then
Oh my
we
God.
looked at each other and we said, we have really begun our entrepreneurial journey because we just started a wholesale company. We had to, so we had to go find a warehouse, and then we had to go out and start selling. We had to get a truck. So that was sort of, and that's kind of been the whole genesis of my career, is
Mm-hmm.
looking at an opportunity and saying, do I want to take this journey and running with
Mm-hmm.
it, and
Yeah.
and enjoying each new iteration of where we've come with 12th Street Catering. 12th Street Cantina was our original business. So
Mm.
for a while, we had the place in the Reading Terminal. We then opened about four more. We called them Mexican cafes. We had them all in the area. We had a wholesale company. Not long after that, we opened a fine dining Mexican restaurant. And then we started getting asked to do catering.
Ah, okay. I'm
And
trying to, I was
yes,
trying to see,
my
like, all right, well, when does this
Here's
catering come
going.
into
Yes,
play
exactly.
here? Yeah.
So, and everything that we've done in the food business, I really like a challenge, as you can tell, and multitasking and
Mhm.
just making, exciting, the energy of exciting and new. And I found that nothing did that for me quite the way catering does.
Mm.
So we'd been in the restaurant business for about 10 years, and we ended up having one of our employees wanted to buy it. We had my dad wanted to take over our wholesale company. And at that moment, it freed my schedule up a little bit to dive full on into the catering business. I feel like of every piece of the food business, catering to me is the most challenging. It's basically like opening a new restaurant 10 times a day.
Yeah. So tell me about that catering idea. So it was first you started to hear it from customers, so it kind of sparked your thought like, oh, well, maybe we should be doing this. Like, tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, our first catering foray. I mean, obviously, we did get requests from people to do this or that. And I don't know if I was really clear in the beginning of what this potential could be until we got an RFP to take over running the food service for a corporate client. And they had 15 meeting rooms, they had 15 breakfast, lunch, and cocktail reception meetings every day. And were awarded the contract. That was the eye opener to like logistics, operational challenges, creating systems. It was really exciting. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew that it would be something that I would enjoy and really excel. And so it's now been probably 30 years of a full on focus in catering. And we've
Wow.
become quite a significant company. We're up to about 450 employees and do everything from corporate breakfast meetings to fancy galas to we run about 75 venues that we are catering at. We have about 14 exclusive venues, and then the rest of them are house parties and office
Yeah.
parties. Yeah, so it's keeps us really busy.
Oh my gosh. So tell me more about those earlier days. So once you kind of landed on doing the catering, what were some of those early steps that you had to, start to think through a bit more and maybe even differently than than one of your regular restaurant or cafes rather?
I think I have been really fortunate. I have some of the most incredible people in the industry. I still have the original team that we started out working together 30 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And we learned it together. I think one of the fun things about the journey that we've had is that we're working together to build something in our own way. None of us came from the catering field, so we got to create
Hmm.
what we knew would work for us.
Okay.
And so a lot of it was, hands-on learning. Okay, this is what tomorrow is going to look like. How are we going to tackle it? How do we divide and conquer? Who do we need to make sure that we're successful in doing this? And because I had this core crew of like 15 people that were really committed and are still to this day really committed, we did it together. And knowing we
Mm-hmm.
each other, if I faltered, somebody got me. If they faltered, I had them. It built a culture that has really enabled us to be special. And I think
Wow.
that's been the most rewarding piece of it.
That's great that you had, a group of people to help you out and support. How did you feel in those moments when you're making those decisions? Like, was it exciting? Was it overwhelming?
Well, it's all those things. And
Yeah.
one of the things about, I think, anybody that's in hospitality, but particularly catering, I think you have to be an adrenaline junkie. And I know I am. I think
Mm-hmm.
you really enjoy problem solving on hyperspeed and just figuring it out very quickly. I think all of us, this team that I have, um, loves that. How do we solve this? Because invariably in the course of any day there are going to be a million things thrown at you,
Right.
and what do you do? How do you do it? So we were really fortunate sort of to begin that journey, take it. We grew rapidly. We still are, our goal is to do better and better and better. Nobody rests on their laurels. It's just not in our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So constantly striving to make it more interesting, more inventive, more exciting. And we, this is not a company that has a lot of big egos. we have a lot of
Mhm.
pride.
Yeah.
That's really, we live on kindness and pride. Do the right thing, even when nobody's watching.
Mhm.
Be kind to each other, kind to the people that we work with. It's the way all of us want to live, and to constantly strive to be better. So it's been really wonderful. Probably about 18 years ago, into our journey, we incubated our business as we took more and more opportunities. Each opportunity took, we were pragmatic. We
Mhm.
made sure that we were taking it and fully comfortable that we would be able to succeed. The big pivotal moment for us was when we purchased we have a 35,000 square foot facility on Penn and Drexel's campus, sort of
Mhm.
right in the middle.
Okay.
And we bought that building. And I remember my husband looking at me and saying, "You are crazy. This building is huge. There's no way we're going to
Wow.
be able to take advantage of this. This is just too big." And we, within a relatively short amount of time, maybe 5 or 6 years, found ourselves using every inch. And in fact, recently we just did a
Mhm.
major renovation, dug out a 6,000 square foot additional space to have a whole basement area that we'd never had before.
Oh,
And
wow.
we reworked every inch of our space. We are actually bursting at the seams. It's really incredible.
Wow.
I
Talk
know.
about growth.
Talk about.
Um, so you're talking about some opportunities and, you'd figure it out together. Did you turn down any opportunities with Charles Street? Maybe it was, I'm making it up, a client and they're like, "Hey, we have 500 people, and if you are just getting started, it's like, are you ready for that challenge?" Like, was there anything like that you had to say no to
Dana, I
or say
think
yes to?
exactly. I think one of the things that I always say to people when they say, "I want to be an entrepreneur," what would be the one word of wisdom that you would give me? And I really believe it's not being afraid to take on that challenge. And
Mm-hmm.
so our very first event was for 2,000 people. We had no clue. I mean, we had an inkling, but did
Yeah.
we feel 100% confident that we knew exactly what we were doing? No way. We had to rent every piece of equipment. We didn't own anything yet. We had to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the roles that we were giving people were defined. We
Mm-hmm.
rehearsed it and rehearsed it and rehearsed it, and we made sure that we were successful, and we were.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes people get caught up in the, "Oh, I don't know if I can do it." And I really say,
You
don't
can.
hesitate. Jump in
Yeah.
and just make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's been a big piece for me.
And with the entrepreneurship, what do you think what would you say something about running your business, that people from the outside, excuse me, don't normally see? Like, they probably don't understand like what actually goes into it. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it's funny. When we first started in the catering world, I heard time and time and time again, "You have the nicest people." And I didn't really get it because I was like, "Of course I have the nicest people. That's who we are." I didn't realize until a couple of years into the business, and as I began to observe what other catering companies were, I mean, that is the hardest thing. You have a great team that sells the event. Of course, you have delicious food. Every caterer has delicious
Mm-hmm.
food. They want to make delicious food, but the execution of the event is the magic sauce. And unbeknownst to this team, we
Mm-hmm.
had it. We just
Yeah.
didn't realize that we had it. And I kept saying every time we would giggle, we'd be like, "Why are they saying everybody's so nice?" Of course they're nice. It's hospitality. But
Yeah.
to this day, that is the major tenet of what we hire and train for. And again, that goes back to when I say lead with kindness. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's reflected in the way I lead and the entire team leads. We don't, I would never yell at anybody. We would communicate if they needed to
Mm-hmm.
change something. If the client is difficult, we try and communicate in the gentlest, softest way we can. People are throwing a party, they've got a lot at stake, they're nervous. So we're
Mm-hmm.
sensitive to that.
Right.
So I think really honing in on the kindness. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just to this day, we could do 60, 70 events in a week. And invariably, like it's always like, your food was amazing. We put a lot of energy in making sure it's beautiful. We eat with our
Mm-hmm.
eyes. So we have a big decor division, and we
Mm-hmm.
spend a lot of energy making sure that everything looks really beautiful. But invariably, so they'll say, of course, the food was delicious, and of course, it looks so pretty. Wow, were your people kind and helpful and
Mm-hmm.
gracious? And they left my home or the building nicer than we found it. So that's a really big point of pride for us.
When you first started with the catering, was there anything that surprised you?
I mean, it's a hard business. And
Yeah.
so um, I think we were surprised, number one, how quickly we were successful. Again, we had a formula that we were adhering to, and very quickly we grew. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, as I told you, to grow into a 35,000 square foot facility was
Yeah.
no simple task, and we did. And um, just the challenge of making sure that we keep it fresh and bright. How
Mm-hmm.
you want to innovate, but then you want to make
Yeah.
sure your team can deliver.
Right.
You can't innovate out of the capacity to deliver. So that
Right.
was just sort of that fine balance of how do you accomplish that.
Mm-hmm. So when you start to scale more, like what was that time frame like? So it's like you start the business, you're getting traction, and then fast forward, you're into this large space. So was that like a couple years?
Yeah, I'd say over the course of about 5 years, we were growing at
Okay.
like 15, 20% a year. And,
Wow.
and then all of a sudden we were like, oh my goodness, this is getting big. Now, what was interesting, and Dana, probably what was my proudest moment, we were up to about 350 employees, and then the pandemic hit.
Oh, net COVID.
Yes, that horrible thing that we all lived through.
Yeah.
And so we I mean, the lights go out for catering. I mean,
Hmm.
it was literally every event in the course of, 2 hours, everything was canceled. The whole year, the whole future, gone. And we looked at each other, and I don't even think I had the words to describe what that felt like.
Hmm.
Not only was closing down not an option, but I had to figure out a way for us to survive. These are people that have worked for me for forever, and their family, and they have kids and mortgages, and I couldn't even comprehend. Like, when you first heard it, you're like, okay, well, this will just be a blip for a week.
Yeah, no problem.
This is not, after about a day or two, we're like, no, this is serious. This is crazy. So we really got scrappy. And I think when you ask toward the trajectory of a business, if you ask me my proudest
Hmm.
accomplishment, it would be how we weathered that and how, as a team, we weathered that. We immediately put our heads down, and closing down for the entire period, like a lot of people did, was not an option.
Right.
So we were fortunate that we had a lot of incredible clients who we would say, "Hey, you got any ideas? We got the team here, and we can work. We just don't know what to do." So
Hmm.
fortunately, one of our amazing clients that we've had for a really long time, who's an incredible soul, and he said, "Why don't we have you make food for the frontline heroes?" So we immediately rolled up our shirt sleeves, and instead of making lunch that we would take to 5 hospitals, and
Yeah,
so we immediately started making family meals.
I love it.
And we felt that preparing family meals for all the frontline folks, we didn't think they were even stopping for lunch during the course of the day. They were
Yeah,
too overwhelmed. And we knew that they probably got home and fell into a chair, exhausted and stressed. So we started packing family meals for four and running them to all the hospitals. And
amazing.
immediately we were able to start having about 20 people a day making these meals. Then we started feeding the COVID people that were locked in hotels because they had COVID, homeless folks. Like we called the city. We're like, we're here. We're working.
Yeah.
We're here to support whatever you need. At no time were we doing anything that we were making money. We didn't want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to keep people working. That was our goal.
That's great.
And then people started calling us and saying, we do a lot with Penn and Drexel and all the colleges. And they're like, wait a minute, what do we do? Somebody just went to med school. How do we honor their graduation? We can't just send them a
Mm,
bottle of wine. So we had to move so fast. We had to figure out how to create a celebration that we could ship to you in a
mm-hmm.
box. We'd never shipped before, never packaged before, never knew how to package something that was food safe that would travel without having any issues. And so we shipped everything. All our friends across the United States were like, you're getting a box. And we had to remember it had to be something that was so pretty and packed so tight that when the UPS guys or the FedEx guys threw it on your,
Right.
it wasn't going to get ruined.
Right.
We did
And
it.
I was gonna say, and thinking about the any perishable items
We
too. It's
figured
like all
we
these things have to align together in this box.
exactly. We did it, man. I can't even,
That's
when
so
I think about
exciting.
the energy that I mean, we were coming in at 4 a.m, packing this food, making this food. We were, if you'll recall, the fear that
Mm-hmm.
anybody carrying this, of course, we
Yes.
entered the thermometers when you came to the door, but there was a moment where we looked at the new people we were allowing in and we're like, can we trust you? You're going to be safe. You're not going to be
Mm-hmm.
going to parties. You're going to be careful.
Right.
We can include you in our circle. So by the time we were really up and running, we got 125 people working every day.
Wow.
I think if you ask,
That's
I know it's an
amazing.
amazing
Yeah.
story. If you ask myself and the entire team to say what would be the pivotal moment in their professional career when they knew that working as a team and being scrappy and innovative,
Mm-hmm.
with a can-do
Mm-hmm.
attitude, and not being afraid to take on tackle any challenge, it would be during that period.
Yeah.
So I think then once the pandemic ended, the pent-up demand was huge. We had the biggest wedding year ever. The
Mm.
year, the year after everything was allowed to go back to normal. And
Right.
we've continued to grow and innovate because the team, if anything, is tighter than we've ever been. We trust each other. We could free fall and we know somebody's going to pick us up.
Yeah. No. I love that chemistry that it sounds like everyone has and the camaraderie. But it's so funny, Michelle, because one of my questions I was going to ask what a proud moment was. So you already answered that, and it was next in line.
Oh,
So I love
you
this.
did. Yep. Thank you.
Um, so thinking about ahead then with your business, maybe later this year, if you are excited for anything upcoming or even in the following years.
Well, what I am excited about, about 2 years ago, in an endeavor to continue to build the company the way we wanted to, and we were growing so quickly, we wanted to ensure that we maintain the culture that we're so proud of. So we became an EOS company, which is an entrepreneurial operating system. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever heard of it.
No.
And it's been like sort of a playbook for the team to how do we grow, all go in the same direction and create a level of accountability that keeps us confident that we're doing what we want to be doing.
Okay.
So, one thing I'm really excited about is to watch how it makes the company blossom. Dana, it's unbelievable. It has been such a fabulous playbook for us. Just,
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody feels really confident as they know what it is we need to do. We have these weekly L10 meetings, they're called, where we have a set of metrics that we work with. We're able to track everything we're doing in a very systematic way. We're
Mm-hmm.
able to find a method that enables us to look. Now that we've gotten so big, we needed a platform to be able to communicate where everybody feels they know what's going on. They're comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with what we're doing. They're excited by the path that we're taking. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to continue to watch that grow. And I think I'm excited about the fact that as we've gotten further and further in our EOS journey, I have been able to step back a little bit more and really focus on being a visionary, helping us
Mm-hmm.
to define where do we go in the future?
Yeah.
What do we want to
Okay.
see happen? What are the things we're excited about?
About EOS, especially for listeners out there that don't know what this is. So is this part of like every restaurant? Like how does this?
No, 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 no.
So it's
This is an entrepreneurial platform that you
mm-hmm.
as a business owner, and it is not a restaurant tool. It is a business owner tool who
I
is looking
see.
for a better way to run their business.
Got you. Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Traction. It's obviously a
Mm,
total bestseller, huge
okay.
self-help book for those leaders who are looking for some guidance.
Okay.
We all read it, and we felt that and also I'm part of a business group, and a lot of the members in the business group were like, Michelle, this has been a game changer for me. I was like,
Hmm.
tell me more. I want to know.
Yeah, let's do it. Get me on board. When can I start?
Hire a coach who's a
Okay.
facilitator, and they take you through the process. And in the beginning, it's like learning a new language and
Okay.
processes, but the team immediately saw the value in it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you all have to buy in. It's not like one person runs the show and demands it. We as a
Mm-hmm.
team made the decision that we were going to become this kind of company.
Got
And
it.
and by doing that, maybe things that I would have felt historically that I had to handle, I don't have to handle anymore. I've now empowered somebody that I trust
Mm-hmm.
implicitly.
To go and do it. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think
Very
everybody
cool.
feels a really strong sense of accomplishment. And then it trickles down through the entire organization because then we could
Yeah.
say, who's your next level in command? And what are they doing to
Mm.
help you facilitate what
Mm-hmm.
you have to get done? And it
Okay.
trickles and trickles.
So it kind
So
of helps you like reorganize a little bit, see what you could maybe be doing more efficiently and effectively with your business. And
100%.
yeah, that's
Yeah, it
great.
really, and those who may have not been as strong of a leader prior to being
Mm-hmm.
given some of the roles and responsibilities, they have this. Like it gives them, and they could sit in their meetings, and honesty and candor is the only way to function with this platform. So we learn to speak honestly. We hold each other to certain standards. You can't BS. We
Yeah,
know.
that's
We
great.
have made a commitment to being really honest.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy to be.
Sometimes the truth hurts, but
Yeah, yep.
it's
But
all for the better, you know. And I think that's awesome that you chose to do that because it just shows that you want to keep evolving and grow with the business and also grow everyone else too with your company.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, we used our facilitator was Maria Baseggio, and she is just amazing. So if any of your listeners want to call me about this or get Maria's information,
Yeah,
share it. She's amazing, and
I
she's
love the
just
shout out. Yeah,
yeah, she's
that's
always there
great.
with a handout to help us.
Awesome. So I have one final question for you, Michelle. I know some you spoke to a little bit on it already, but if you had one piece of advice or one thing that you hope, a listener would take away from your story today, what would that be? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think it's just don't be afraid. I think
Yeah.
you have to jump in. I think sometimes, look, if I always laugh when people say, well, you write a 1 year plan and a 5 year plan and a 10 year plan. And if I was that pedantic, I would have never even had this incredible journey that I've had. I would have been too worried about, is this the right thing? And should I be doing
Mm-hmm.
trust your gut. I think that
Mm-hmm.
tells you a lot more than you're willing to. And I'm sorry to say, guys, but if you want to be an entrepreneur, be prepared to work hard. I mean, it
Yeah.
is a lot of work. And
Mm-hmm.
if in the beginning, if work-life balance is way more important to you, and I give you all the credit for acknowledging what is your life passion, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to be an entrepreneur, be prepared to work really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. Because at the end of the day, it's up to you. It's up to the person that wants to start their own business to go out and do it. No one's telling you. So they
Exactly.
got to really buckle up. Here we go. I'm jumping in.
Come on in and
All
just
right.
is wide open. And and I think also the other thing, it's very tempting in an early stage of your business to say yes to every opportunity, every
Mm,
shiny object. And I
mm-hmm.
think we've got much more disciplined as a company, and we're more. And I think EOS has definitely helped us because it's a lot of it is about studying your numbers and understanding your metrics. And so we're really much more careful about taking on every single thing. We're good about saying, does this fit with our
Yeah,
model? And do the
right.
numbers make sense? In the beginning, you're
Of
always like, yes,
course.
let me try this. And oh,
Yes,
look.
yes, yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, it's smart. It's like, all right, let's dial it back. Is this, aligning with our objectives? Oh, it's not. All right, let's say no. You move on to the next one.
Yep.
So I love that. All right. So thank you so much for coming on, Michelle. And we'll chat with everyone next week.
Dana, thank you so much. What a fun time. I really
Yeah,
appreciate getting to
of
speak with you.
course. Thanks so much for listening, friends. Until next time, keep finding connection in the stories women share.